Joseph Parker is now at the top of his game. At one point in dire straits and looking like an early retirement may be on the cards, he then went on to have a monumental revival, a comeback that puts himself firmly among the world top 3, and now he's back in prime position. But how did he get here? What does the future hold? Could he be world champion again? And what is the story of Joseph Parker's rejuvenation? So let's rewind a few years back to when things weren't going so rosy. It was the 23rd of September 2017, and having picked up the WBO belt in a sterling win against Andy Ruiz, Parker found himself defending it not too long after against the undefeated Hughie Fury. Now, fair to say, this fight certainly wasn't a thriller, but Joseph done enough to keep his title, then rolled on and found himself up against the high-flying Anthony Joshua in front of 80,000 in Cardiff, and although being the first to take AJ the distance, AJ's work rate ripped the world title away from the Kiwi, and after all the hard work it was back to the drawing board. Now in this fight, many felt he just lacked the killer instinct needed at the top level, seemingly switching off when it wasn't going his way, and it happened to be a similar story in his next fight against Dillian Whyte. He had a strong speedy start but soon looked like he had given up, not being able to put a dent in the body snatcher. However, let's not forget Parker always has been as tough as they come, and in them final seconds he very nearly pulled it out the bag.
He's here, guys. Big right hand. He's hurting. He's gone. He's out on his feet.
20 seconds left.
No.
Is he going to be stopped?
No, he won't stop it. He's got to give him an opportunity. He's got to give him a chance.
Parker.
Oh, no.
To the end. Is he going to...
He survived this round.
So with 2 losses in a row, it was a step in the wrong direction for Joseph, but he returned looking good against Flores and Lapai, then produced a sensational knockout against Shaundell Winters. But after that, the fight with Junior Farr was once again a sight for sore eyes. He scraped the win, however it was clear things needed a shake-up if he was going to get back in the mix with the big boys. So he felt he needed to part with long-term trainer Kevin Barry, setting up camp with the well-schooled Andy Lee for his next fight against the experienced and ever-entertaining Del Boy Chisora. He went on to produce a much more improved performance and did actually show a bit more grit this time, something that Andy Lee more than likely demanded of him. And although hairy in places, it was a solid Parker win nonetheless, and the rematch proved to be even more conclusive.
Where Parker wants Chisora. The lovely
tremendous right uppercut, and this time Derek Chisora is held up only by the ropes, and so the referee for the shot. He goes in with another left uppercut, but Chisora fires back wildly. What a finish to the round once again. And the referee steps in, and look at the crowd.
Does that so well. Beautiful right uppercut. He's hurt.
After a 1-2 combination, he then follows up with a right uppercut.
So having returned from 2 losses with a 6-win streak, it was time to take on another firm top 10 contender in the shape of Joseph Joyce, the Juggernaut. It was a relatively even matchup on paper, but with Parker's best asset being his speed and this being Joyce's weakest attribute, many felt Parker would have a lot of success in this fight. However, there was a big change, coming in at a career heaviest 255 pounds, nearly a full stone heavier than when he fought Joshua, and unfortunately the night didn't go his way.
Downstairs, there it is there's that right hand and the left as well, but Joyce just keeps on coming, and it's really warming up here in the third. Oh, great right hand from Parker, but Joyce takes it, and what a chin this man has got.
Yeah,
that landed absolutely flush, and he just blinked.
That's what he does, Joe Joyce. If he catches you to the head, then he goes downstairs with those body shots.
Oh, and he's hurting with those body shots and switches beautifully with a left hook to the head. It's good from Parker, doubling up with that left hand.
Big shots here from Joe Joyce.
He's the one delivering. There was a right hand there which rocked back Parker's head, and he's coming on strong here, the Londoner. Onslaught.
Parker had a great 30 seconds in that last round, and Joyce has responded.
Oh, what a shot! He's gone, the left hand from Joyce.
So maybe this weight had nothing to do with the outcome on the night, because Joyce was absolutely relentless, putting in a career best performance. But in hindsight, after seeing Parker's sharpness in the Wilder fight where he was 10 pounds lighter, maybe a lower weight would have been a benefit. Still, take nothing away from Joyce, he was exceptional, and Parker suffered his first stoppage. Another unfortunate backward step. Now this really was the lowest point in his career. Looking like a long way off the big boys, Fury, Usyk, Joshua and now Joyce, it was hard to see how he could get himself back in the mix. However, we couldn't overlook the fact that he was only 30 years old and maybe the prime years were in fact still ahead of him. So after that loss, we did question where he goes now, and he reappeared at the very start of 2023 in an unusual fight against former cruiserweight Jack Massey. It was another so-so performance to produce a decision win, but the same views were shared by many that Parker's best days may now be behind him. But as it turned out, this was merely a stepping stone in the Parker resurgence. He wasted no time and was back in the ring 4 months later to get a first round knockout for a massive confidence booster, and then it was off to Saudi for another lower level contender in Simon Keane. However, even though he was always going to be levels above, something was different now, and Parker was looking as sharp as ever, faster and more destructive from the opening bell, going on to dispose of the Canadian in 3 rounds. And then, out of nowhere, came the unexpected. A fight on the day of reckoning with Deontay Wilder in what was supposed to simply be a warm-up for Deontay before the signed Joshua fight in March 24. But yes, that was not to be, and Parker decided to flip the script whilst making it look easy.
Big shot. Backs Parker up, didn't win. Loves it. And Wilder is hurt. He is hurt. And he's holding on right now. It's Parker who said I'm going for the knockout. Is certainly doing so here in the 8th round. Uppercut to Joseph Parker. Caught him again. Wilder swinging at ghosts right now. Wilder's got to hold on here. The referee's close. There's that big rainbow shot. You've been asking big, sir. Parker, I'm taking a knee. Big right hand right there. I might take 3 knees.
From New Zealand, he is Big Joseph Parker.
So fair to say, many saw Wilder in a different mindset to what we've seen of him in the past, but regardless of that, this lighter Parker was more methodical and much more switched on than we'd ever seen him. Now, he has always had the makeup of a great heavyweight: good power, fast hands and a brilliant chin. He's always had the attributes, but just never connected it with the grit and determination, the will and desire to win against the top boys, which ultimately all comes down to his mindset. But now it seemed that Andy Lee had put an end to all that, not only improving his ability but making him stronger mentally. And after being written off once more against the heavy hitting Big Bang Zhang, it took this new stronger mindset of Parker to battle through 2 knockdowns and yet again upset the odds. 2 of the biggest punchers in the division disposed of in the space of 4 months. Now, in terms of meritocracy, he had more than earned his shot at a world title, which finally came almost a year later against the new IBF champion Daniel Dubois. But as we know, that never materialised, and for unfair reasons was never even rescheduled either, with Dubois going on to fight Usyk for the undisputed but coming up very short. With that fallout though, Parker would dispose of yet another monster heavyweight, albeit one that came in on short notice, in the shape of Martin Bakole.
There needs to be very careful of the Bakole power.
A few rounds and he should wear it out, he should tire it out.
Big punches from Parker to the body. 4. Dubois would last 2, and Usyk he'd give him 6.
A good shot there from Parker. See, Parker's got to stop loading up here, otherwise he'll be the one gashing out.
It's turning into a real fight. What a shot from Joe Parker.
Now, after Daniel Dubois losing to Usyk, the timing was more than right and fair for Parker to get his shot at the undisputed. But bad luck struck again, as it just so happened to be the time that Usyk decided he wanted a break from boxing. And unfortunately for Parker, he's taken the belts along with him as well. However, the Kiwi bomber is determined to stay active, so a fight with Fabio Wardley is on the cards for October the 25th at the O2 in London, a venue he's fought at many times before. It's a fight he's a firm favourite for, being a seasoned veteran as such compared to Fabio, but of course it brings huge risk along with it as well because Fabio is as powerful as they come. It's an absolute must win for Parker because all his hard work has got him within touching distance of that undisputed, and to let it all go now really would be devastating for him. October the 25th, one man moves on to World Honours opportunities.